College Chimpits fan going live on YouTube. College Chimpits fan going live on YouTube. Streaming live on YouTube.
The following programming is EI, educational and informative.
The following program contains actual video of real animal emergencies and is suitable for family viewing. Coming next, a newborn chimp is abandoned by its home. Now this adorable primate needs a home. Follow this baby's remarkable journey. This is Animal Rescue Classic. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Payne. We have a very special story to share with you. It's a story of love and cooperation between many people stretching across the United States. In Florida, at Lion Country Safari, a newborn chimp is abandoned by her mother, and now her life is in the hands of human caregivers.
Hey, sweetheart. This is Zoe. Zoe's a little baby chimpanzee. She was born to a mother that had had several babies before, but for some reason this one she did not care to look after too badly. When we found her early in the morning, she was being handled by another female that was in the group, an inexperienced female that never had babies before. And we were concerned because that female didn't have milk to feed her. And because she was a little inexperienced in looking after infants, she would set her down and walk away from her, and the baby would scream a little bit, and she'd go back and pick it up and set her down again. So because of our concern for her welfare, we decided to take her to hand raise, and we've been doing so ever since.
Lion Country Safari is a cageless zoo open since 1967. Located in West Palm Beach, Florida, hundreds of wild animals roam here freely. Due to the circumstances following Zoe's birth, Brenda and other park officials decided the plan for this baby chimp's upbringing would be quite different.
Zoe is on her way to the Los Angeles Zoo here tomorrow, and we've decided as what's best for her is to have her raised with other chimpanzees so she can grow up being a chimp as much as possible rather than a human. In Lion Country, it's very unlikely that she would have been able to be with other chimpanzees for several months or even years. So Los Angeles has an environment at the moment. They have two other very young baby chimpanzees that she will be raised with. So we are very anxious to see her in an environment that will be best for her emotional growth and overall the best environment that she could possibly be in Kappa's situation. And daily, twice a day, she entertains the public here. Has been for the last couple of weeks. And they love to see her. Love to see her eat.
Zoe's a big attraction, especially with the children. But lots of adults also seem to enjoy this adorable baby primate.
She loves to look at the people, and she does react to them. Every once in a while, she'll vocalize to them. They unfortunately can't hear her through the glass, but she loves to see the people. And they, of hours left to see her. Where are those people? They're all looking at you. They're all looking at you. Who are those people? This is Zoe's last day, and they're just going to say goodbye to Zoe before she goes to LA tomorrow. Goodbye. We're on our way.
What's up, Zoe? You're gonna be a star in LA. Don't you forget where you came from now. What a cutie.
I'm
She's gonna
excited.
become a chump. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is.
It's so exciting. We'll take good care of your mom, Zoe. No, she's not going.
She comes home with me every night, and she's anxious to get out. She's normally been traveling on her back, but just in the last few days, she wants to be able to see things a little more. So she's been a little more on the front these days. Zoe, come here. And she's got to be hungry, because we're about 15 or 20 minutes late on feeding tonight. Having not had children, I can imagine it's very much like having a child in your home. It's round-the-clock care. She has much of the same physical demands and diaper changes and attention and emotional demands than a human baby has. So, again, we're very, very close in genetic makeup to chimpanzees. It's about the closest animal on Earth that we are related to. So, yes, the physical similarities and the similar demands to a human infant, I'm sure, are very close. Yoni, there was one, this was her on grass. We tried, laid her on the grass one day, and she didn't like the feel of the grass. She was holding up her foot off the grass in that picture. One of my favorites. She was having a little bit of a hissy fit in this one very moment, but she wasn't happy and was throwing a little bit of a tantrum. This one I like. I don't know if you want. She was about a month old then. I'm very pleased to see her going into a place where she can be a chimpanzee, and LA, with the other baby chimps that they have there, it's the best place for her to be. So I'm very pleased, and the rest of the staff are very pleased to see her go there. Ultimately, she's going to be very happy there as well. On the other hand, I have raised her right from the time she was born, and it's going to be difficult to see her go. She's been here every night. She's been a real joy to hand raise.
Brenda knows this will be the last night Zoe will be spending at her home. In just a few short hours, Zoe will be heading to the airport to begin a journey to her new life. That part of the story when we come back.
Going to LA, I'm torn a little bit. I'm very pleased to see her going into a place where she can be a chimpanzee, and LA, with the other baby chimps that they have there, it's the best place for her to be. So I'm very pleased, and the rest of the staff are very pleased to see her go there.
I know what it's like to have back pain. When I found inversion, it changed my life forever, and I believe it can change yours. I'm proud to introduce the most...
My back feels...
Said it?
Items you... That's why the armor did.
About to embark on a long journey that will take her to a new home in California. Abandoned at birth by her mother, Zoe has been very fortunate because many people have come to her rescue. The reception for Zoe at the airport turned out to be quite a festive occasion, including local media and exotic dancers from Spirit Airlines.
Well, I was at home watching the news one evening, and I saw Lion Country Safari on the news soliciting transportation for Zoe the chimp to be taken to Los Angeles Zoo. I thought it would be a great story and a great contribution to the community, so I brought it up at our board meeting the next day, and it was decided then that we should go bananas for Zoe.
1600
yesterday's flight. The dancers and all were arranged just to make it more fun, sort of increase spirit.
Yes, I've been looking after Zoe since she was born on August 9th. And she's required spring club care. And so apart from being with me at work, and I've been lucky enough to have the aid of other helpers that I work with, so I'm looking after her during the daytime. Because she requires around-the-clock care, she's also had to come home with me at night, so it's been an interesting experience. I have no children of my own, so this is about as close to so far to a child that I've had. I'm still gonna miss her. I'm gonna miss her, but it's really the best thing for her. She's been with humans every day. She's never seen another chimpanzee, so one thing I always do, she can become a chimp. She's going to be peer raised. She's not going to be able to be raised by her mother or adult chimpanzees at this point, this early in her lifetime anyway. Right in here? Right in there.
This program is EI, educational and informative.
Hi, Zoe. You are.
Taking off from Florida, Zoe is now on her way to Detroit for a connecting flight to Los Angeles. But don't bother Zoe with those travel details. She's fast asleep in Brenda's arms. Upon arrival in Detroit, Brenda and Zoe once again will meet the media for what's turning into Zoe's excellent adventure. Zoe seems oblivious to the cameras and onlookers as Brenda explains this chimp's plight. What Zoe must be thinking? Where am I going? And why are all these people so interested in me? It's back on the plane once again for the final leg of this trip. Destination, Los Angeles.
It's been a long day, and we're tired, and Zoe's tired, and I guess I'm starting to feel the pressure a little bit. It's time to focus where we have to.
As the plane gets ready to land in Los Angeles, Brenda is finally realizing that this baby chimp she has raised since birth is about to be leaving her. We'll find out what happens next when we come back.
The whole point of this is to have her grow up and be a well-adjusted, normal chimp.
Since we had the two youngsters, Jean and Jake, it seemed to be a good idea to bring this third animal in and raise him so that she's going to be a chimpanzee and not be raised singularly.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Having room for your life, horseback, and other patients fighting.
We knew she was coming in, and we had been contacted by Lion Country and the Chimpanzee Species Survival Plan prior to her arrival. Since we had the two youngsters, Jean and Jake, it seemed to be a good idea to bring this third animal in and raise him so that she's going to be a chimpanzee and not be raised singularly in a social setting.
Yes, Zoe. Hi. Nice to meet you. Thank you. On behalf of Lion Country Safari, I'd like to extend our deepest appreciation to Spirit Airlines for
Brenda Irvin,
providing
Lion
safe passage and comfortable passage for Zoe to LA today. We're deeply appreciative. The trip was very uneventful. She was slept most of the way here from Detroit to LA. She just woke up here in about the last half hour and is putting on a nice show for you all here at the moment. It has been a long trip, and we're really excited at this point to that she is going into such a great home and a great environment. It's going to be a little difficult saying goodbye because I've been in such close contact with her for the last 2.5 months, virtually every day that she's been. I've had her at home with me in the evenings to look after her, and so it's going to be tough.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. Zoe is going to be going into a 30-day quarantine and at the zoo, and then as soon as the 30 days is up, we'll let everybody know so that you can come out and see her when she's introduced to the other two chimps, Jean and Jake. Thank you very much. After her arrival, she came to the zoo immediately and she went into a 30-day quarantine. Every animal that we get at the Los Angeles Zoo goes into a 30-day quarantine, and they're checked for parasites and potential disease factors that they may have that we do not want to put in our collection. And she was as clean as you could possibly ask for. So as soon as the 30-day quarantine was lifted, then she was put in with the others.
It's a huge job having three babies to take care of at the same time. I really do respect moms with triplets, you know. She's a real nice chimp and really easygoing, so
Kelly
she's been
Green,
lots of fun
Los
for us.
Angeles Zoo.
She's getting along really well with our pair, Jake and Jean, and it's been lots of fun. We're enjoying every minute of it. She was totally thrilled to see another chimp. She's just getting to the point where she's mastering walking. For the last few days, she's been standing really well, but moving forward has been kind of a new challenge for her. I think she wishes her body worked a little bit better, but that'll come. She's doing well. Her daily routine is a lot like it would be for a human baby. She does a lot of napping and has bottles every 3 hours of formula. Similac is what we're feeding her. And in between naps and feeding time, she's in playing with Jake and Jean. Actually, the three of them have started visiting the chimpanzee exhibit, so hopefully that'll make it easier for them to transition when they're a little bit older. But it's going to be a lot of wait and see and see how they develop and how quickly they go to know exactly how long it'll take. But she'll probably be in the nursery, many, many more months. The whole point of this is to have her grow up and be a well-adjusted, normal chimp. And so it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be exciting to see her do what she's supposed to do. She's meant to live with chimps. We're enjoying them very much, and just to think that the three of them are going to have a good opportunity to be normal and happy and healthy and live with their own kind is a thrill.
I see you smiling. Look at all those teeth. Look at you. Gosh, you're cute. Zoe! Hi, sweet pea. Hi, sweetie. It's going to be hard to see them go, but happy to. It's kind of like your kid going to college. It's sad, but it's a new chapter in their life, and it's what they're supposed to do. It's important that she be a chimp.
Zoe continues to grow, and according to the dedicated staff members of the Los Angeles Zoo, she is a happy and healthy chimpanzee. What a great ending! Thanks to Brenda and all the compassionate people at Lion Country Safari, the goodwill of Spirit Airlines, and the kind assistance of the Los Angeles Zoo. They all made a big difference in a baby chimp's life. Animal Rescue returns right after this. Full-time job. Take pet ownership seriously. And that's this edition of Animal Rescue. Thanks for watching. Join us next time as we showcase those caring individuals who help the various creatures in the animal kingdom. I'm Alex Payne. And
educational and informative.
Today on Animal Outtakes, we're exploring wildlife conservation, focusing on one unique little bird, the scrub jays.
Welcome to Animal Outtakes. I'm your host, Marcia Panucci. This week, we're learning about wildlife conservation, the act of protecting threatened and endangered plants and animals and their habitats. We'll introduce you to a unique bird found only in Florida and why its home is disappearing. Plus, from fish to dolphins to plant life, estuaries are home to many different animals. We'll explore what we can do to protect this important ecosystem. Stick around, we've got a lot to show you.
In southern Sarasota County, at a state park surrounded by development, there lives a unique bird.
Tony, we're out here early in the morning at Oscar Sheriff Park. Tell us about that little guy up there.
Well, what you're seeing up here is the Florida scrub jay. And the Florida scrub jay is very unique to Florida. In fact, you won't find the Florida scrub jay in any other state but Florida. So it's the only bird you'll only find in Florida, and that's what makes it so unique.
Tony Clements is the park manager for Oscar Sheriff State Park. 28 Florida scrub jays call the 1,400-acre park home. These birds live in family groups and actually help each other out with taking care of their young.
Family groups, they are cooperative breeders, which means that they stay in those general areas, but when the young stick around for several years and help raise more young, but then those young will eventually look for more territory.
That territory is somewhat hard to come by, though. You see, scrub jays are very particular about where they will live.
Right. Now this area in here, you have explained, Tony, that this is excellent area. What makes this a good area for the scrub jays?
Well, basically what makes this zone behind us a good area for the scrub jays is you'll notice that there's a lot of those oak trees. Now, their main food source is the acorns on these oak trees. And you'll notice if you were to walk up in there, you'll see a lot of bare sandy patches. Typically, you want with the scrubby flatwoods, you want about 30% bare open sandy patches. Again, that's where they're going to catch those acorns. You want the scrub low. For some reason, they do not like that tall scrub. And you'll notice there's very few large pine trees in this area. Typically, in the scrubby flatwoods, you want about 1 to 2 pine trees per acre. That's what the jays like, again, because of the predators. They want to be worrying about, is there a predator in that tall pine tree up there? They want to be focusing on catching acorns, producing offspring, and all the fun other things that they like to do.
The scrub jays do have a unique way of dealing with threats like birds and snakes. They take turns acting as lookout or sentinel.
So they'll find the tallest tree in their territory, and they'll perch up in that, and then they're looking out for predators. So if they see a snake coming into their territory, they'll give out a certain call, and all the jays will come down and swoop that snake out.
But the scrub jay is slowly disappearing. It is estimated that the population of jays has dropped a staggering 90% over the last 100 years. They were added to the federal threatened species list in 1987, and now scientists believe there may be less than 6,000 of these unique birds left in the world. All this while Florida's population has nearly quadrupled since the 1960s.
Why are we losing the scrub jays?
I would say the biggest reason we're losing scrub jays is loss of habitat. If we don't have the habitat, then there's no place for these jays to move into. These jays are a niche species, which means they won't live in any other type of habitat. So that's why it's important that these little pieces that we do have left, that we preserve and protect them and make them healthy for the jays.
At Oscar Sheriff, the park staff and volunteers go to great lengths to make sure that the scrub jays have a good place to live. They keep track of the birds by banding them, and they take a monthly census to keep track of what they're up to.
That way we can watch what the jays are doing, watch what the families are doing, so that we can better make the habitat and provide better habitat for the jays if we monitor them.
One thing you notice when you visit the park is how friendly the birds are. They even came over to check us out.
naturally these birds are very curious. They want to know who's coming into their territory. Just like we saw when we parked the car and we came over here, the jays came over to us because they want to know whether we're friend or foe. They want to know if we're good or bad because they always want to protect their territory.
Now they have flown away, so we passed the test.
We passed the test.
Okay.
We're the good guys.
Good.
But Tony warns us not to feed the birds. Not only is it illegal to feed a threatened species, but it could disrupt the jay's breeding cycle and lower the chance of survival of the baby birds. It's been 2 years since there have been any fledglings at the park, but Tony is optimistic about this year.
We had 2 jays come into the park from other locations, unbanded jays. So we're hoping that some of our jays have a good year this year and that they do produce offspring.
In our ecological society, the scrub jays, how important are they for us? I know that we need to save them, but how does it affect us?
The Florida scrub jay is a symbol of, if we can't do what we can for the Florida scrub jay, then what are we going to do about the Florida panther? What are we going to do about all the swallowtail kite, all these other species that we have here in Florida?
Still ahead on Animal Outtakes. People come here from all over the world to come to our bays and beaches to go snorkeling or nature walk tours or kayaking.
Florida is practically surrounded by water. We'll explore more about this important ecosystem. But first, we go inside one of the largest wildlife rescue groups in Florida to see how they are rehabbing injured animals.
Like a toy. What's the worry? This toy has a motor. It goes in a hurry. Seems like we found a whole new way to end up in the emergency room. Cars and signs and bikes and pedestrians. Better take it down a notch, scooter equestrians. Smash that phone and the bag of chips. Scooter takes both hands and all your bits. Lose the bugs, keep your eyes peeled. Even a small bump can be a big deal. A row of parked cars, a word to the wise. Car doors open, big surprise. And you think 2 can ride as safely as 1? 2 on a scooter is trouble. Double. Before you launch, check your ride with care. Don't even get on if it needs repair. A public service message from the American College of Emergency Physicians, who state to every rider, if you must scoot, use your head. Always wear a helmet.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason. Got a new house. Looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home. I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
Thank you. Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
It doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you say it often. Praise your child at least 4 times for every time you correct them, and you'll be on your way to raising a confident, caring kid. 4 to 1 praise is just one of the many parenting tools from the experts at Boys Town. Visit boystown.org/praise to receive your 10 Ways to Praise magnet. It's a great reminder to keep it positive, and that helpful parenting advice is just a click away. kids show up to school, we help fill in the gaps. At Communities and Schools, we connect students to resources to meet their basic needs and build powerful relationships so they can see a bright future. Join in at communitiesinschools.org.
Wildlife conservation focuses on protecting endangered plants and animals and their habitats. People and our impact on the environment are one of the biggest threats to wildlife. And people like Ed Strait, the co-founder of Wildlife Incorporated in Bradenton Beach, know that all too well.
Last year, intake of over 2,000 things went probably around 3,000 calls altogether.
His nonprofit group has spent the last 27 years helping rescue and rehabilitate animals that have been injured, with the hopes of releasing them back into the wild.
We don't turn anything away. We can always make accommodations. We have carriers and so forth. So people say, what are you going to do if you're over? Well, you know, last year we did overflow a little bit into our kitchen. We had 4 cages, 3 fawns, and a baby bobcat in there. So, but we make sure that we take
So
care
no
of it.
one is turned away.
No, that's true.
As we toured Ed's facility, which is also his home, we saw all kinds of animals, from rabbits and tortoises to hawks, owls, and pelicans.
Quite often, if they do call some other agency, they most likely will refer to us also. But we do take calls directly.
And so you go out and you get them.
Yeah, usually we make a determination at the call on whether we would ask the people to bring them or go get them. Depends on what it is. We'll do, you know, a check-in when they come in. We'll do an examination just to make sure, even if it's just a little orphaned baby, we'll check it closely to make sure there's no injuries or any kind of problems with it.
And of course, the whole idea is to get the animals in here, give them the medical care, give them some loving in between, but then get them back out into the wildlife.
Absolutely,
right?
and timing is important there because we don't want to put them out too soon when they're not ready to go, but we don't want to keep them any longer than they should be here because it can be detrimental by keeping them too long.
Wildlife Incorporated is already looking after its first orphan, a baby great horned owl that just fell out of its nest.
He had a tumble and he had it hurt his eye a little bit, but it's healed up. And so he's very likely going to get released back in a while.
Beautiful coloring. Isn't that cute?
Anyway, he's doing quite well and he will keep growing, but he will be with us for several months, by the way, even as fast as he's growing. Most of the baby birds of prey that we get in this time of year get released around August or September.
There are some animals that cannot be released back into the wild. Those animals stay at the facility and are used for educational purposes. Jacaranda, a red-tailed hawk, is one of them.
I know she was hit by a car on Jacaranda Boulevard in Venice, but that was 19 years ago. She's been with us 19 years. So once we determined that her wing was not going to heal enough to be back in the wild, then we filed for a federal permit to keep her permanently. We do about 20 weekends a year of education with our booth, and then probably another at least 20 days or more in the different schools in Manatee and Sarasota County.
If there's one thought that you want to leave our audience with what you do and how you do it and what you're saving here, what would that be?
Just remember that mainly rehabbing wildlife support comes from the public. Any support that can be given to us or any rehab is really appreciated because that's what keeps us going.
Still ahead on Animal Outtakes. So what you're telling us truly is when we see these fires, they are truly controlled by you, and it's a good thing?
Fire is good. Yes, fire is very, very good.
Every 3 minutes, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer in the United States. This is Emma. Emma is 10 years old. She loves arts and crafts, horseback riding, bows, and good old fun. But while Emma wears a big, beautiful smile on her face, she is also in the fight of her life. Emma has aplastic anemia, a rare blood condition, and a bone marrow transplant from an unrelated donor is the only known cure right now. Because Emma is African American, she only has a 23% 30% chance of finding her life-saving donor. And that could be you or someone you know. By spreading the word and encouraging action today, you are giving hope to Emma and other patients fighting for their lives. Register today at dkms.org.
This is a nursery, a home, a soft place to land. This is a superhighway, a Sunday morning. This is quality time and a family tradition. Wetlands keep floodwaters at bay, improve water quality, and serve as rest stops for the continental journey migrating birds make each year. This is where you play. So this is where we work.
If you love them enough to crawl into a meeting place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Florida is known for our water, with nearly 2,000 miles of coastline and over 600 miles of beaches. And along those waterways, there lies a very important habitat, estuaries.
Sarah, by the sheer nature of the word estuary, it's rather daunting and intimidating. What does it really mean?
Yeah, it's actually really simple if you think about it. It's where fresh water from rivers and tributaries and tidal creeks mix in with the salt water from the Gulf of Mexico. So where fresh and saltwater meet, that's what an estuary is. And it's a nursery ground for fish and shellfish species.
Sarah Kane is with the Sarasota Bay Estuary Program, a group dedicated to restoring and protecting this vital ecosystem. Along the southwest Gulf Coast, there are 3 estuaries: Tampa Bay, Charlotte Harbor, and Sarasota Bay, which is actually the smallest of the 3, spanning 56 miles from Anna Maria Sound south to Blackburn Bay off the coast of Venice. While the bay is important for our economy, bringing tourists from all over the country, it is an important habitat as well. Nearly 80% of the world's fish and shellfish species will call estuaries home at some point in their lives.
In Sarasota Bay, we have a lot of juvenile fish. Majority are pinfish, but we also have gag grouper and Goliath grouper that are juvenile when they're in the bay system. So we try to keep those fish species safe and a good environment for them, because then they can go off to the Gulf of Mexico where they become the big fish that we all enjoy.
But it's not just all about the fish.
One of the most popular ones, or the most charismatic, we like to call it charismatic megafauna, is the dolphin. So there's been scientists that have been studying in Sarasota Bay for a really long time, and they've been able to track different generations
I love
of
dolphins.
throughout the whole
Dolphins are
family and life
beautiful
cycle. We also have the Florida manatee, which is one of my favorites. They're cute, charismatic as well.
Another important element to estuaries isn't actually in the water, but has roots on land.
Well, I will tell you that Sarasota has the most beautiful boardwalk, which we are walking on right now.
Yes.
But we are walking through what? Because it is absolutely idyllic here.
This is a mangrove habitat, and you'll find 3 different types of mangroves living here: the red, the black, and the white. So the red is going to be closest to the shore, and it has these prop roots that come out. And we also call it the walking tree. This one right over here actually is a red mangrove. Do you see how the roots look like they are going to be walking somewhere? You can tell a black mangrove by these pneumatophores that are coming up from the ground. They also call them snorkel roots, and they have a little black tint to them as well for the black mangrove. And the white mangrove, I'm not sure if we will see one right here. They're usually further away from the water, but you can tell the white mangrove by its leaf. It has a little point on the end of its leaf. It secretes salt, so there will usually be little nodes on the back
where you can see the salt coming out, and you can actually lick it. That's what we do with the kids.
The mangroves not only help filter the bay's water, but provide habitats for fish and shellfish below the surface. Above, birds like egrets, herons, and pelicans nest in their branches. These animals rely on a healthy bay for survival. But a clean ecosystem hasn't always been the case. Laws and regulations now prohibit dumping toxic wastewater in the bays, which has lowered levels of hazardous chemicals like nitrogen. But there's a new problem.
Now our biggest source of pollution is stormwater pollution, which we all cause and on our everyday lives. That can come from fertilizer, pesticides, pet waste, dog waste, trash, and other things that end up on the ground. When it rains, it washes all that pollution into the bay directly and doesn't get filtered. Our biggest problem right now is stormwater pollution, but everybody can kind of do their part. And it's a long, kind of ongoing process, but if you reduce your fertilizer use, reduce the chemicals that you have in your lawn, that will help. If you reduce your trash and your waste in your own household, that will help. And if you pick up after your dog, that will help as well. So there's lots of things that everyone can do. Yeah.
Back out at Oscar Sheriff State Park, we're learning more about the Florida scrub jay's habitat and some of the animals with whom they share it.
So we know that this is the home of the scrub jays. Is it home to anything else that you are aware of?
Almost definitely. One of the unique things about the scrub habitat is it's got a lot of endemic species. What I mean by endemic is a lot of species that you won't find living anywhere else. The eastern indigo snake is another listed species that we have in Florida. The gopher frog. If we didn't take care of this scrub, we would lose a lot of different listed or threatened and endangered plants and animals that also survive in this habitat.
Park manager Tony Clemens says one way they work to protect the area and keep the scrub low is by using fire to burn the landscape.
Florida is the lightning capital of the United States of America.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So it's really important that we try to mimic that natural process by doing what we call prescribed fire. This scrub, the scrubby flatwoods here, typically will burn historically on a 4 to 10 year rotation. So about every 4 to 10 years, when the zones are ready to be burned, we do a prescribed fire.
So what you're telling us truly is when we
very, very good, because again, all these plants and animals that we have here in Florida that are native have learned to adapt and to survive with that natural fire process. If we take that fire away, all our plant communities will change into climax communities, like a hardwood hammock or something like that. And we will lose a lot of the diversity that we have here in Florida, and specifically here at Oscar Sheriff State Park.
As we toured the park, Tony pointed out to us some of these precautions that they take to protect the animals ahead of these prescribed burns.
Well, we have just been walking all over the park. This has just been a great thing, but look, we've got some pink flags over here. What's going on?
Well, this area right here, we're getting ready for a prescribed fire, and one of the things that we have to do in order to burn the areas here safely is reduce the fuel. We'll do something called mechanical treatment. Now, there's all different types of mechanical treatment, but what we're using back here is something called a roller chopper. What the roller chopper does is it gets this fuel that's standing upright and rolls over it and flattens it to the ground. But one of the things that we specifically do at Oscar Sheriff to mitigate some of the wildlife that's in those areas so the machine doesn't roll over it is we'll go in and we'll mark off specific sensitive areas. These areas that are marked off with a pink ribbon to my side are marked off because we have a gopher tortoise burrow living down in there. And we want to make sure that we keep that machine off of that area so we preserve the burrow of that gopher tortoise.
Park staff and volunteers will find the burrows and mark off an area 25 feet around them. That way, the machine operators know to avoid that particular section.
Because gopher tortoises are another species that you find in the scrub habitat. And it's really important that we do what we can to protect them, because the gopher tortoise habitat and the gopher tortoise burrow is actually, you'll find over 500 other species that will live in that burrow with them. So it's really important that we protect this species by not collapsing the gopher tortoise burrow. They call the gopher tortoise a keystone species. You know, just like you have a bridge and you have the keystone, you take that out and the whole bridge collapses. So it's really important that we do what we can to preserve this gopher tortoise and their habitat, because they're providing habitat for a lot of other species also.
We'll be right back.
Dogtails TV. Dogtails, Family Edition. America's premier dog lovers magazine show. All the latest news from the dog world. Right now on this edition of Dogtails, Family Edition.
This is EI, educational and informative.
Meet the Wagner family from
On
Los
True
Angeles,
Crime
California.
Justice Network.
Proud owners of 4 lovable canines.
We got Enzo about 4 years ago, and he's a German Shepherd. And we wanted to get a German Shepherd because our last dog, he was a German Shepherd as well, and he lived to 14 years, and we just love the breed. They're very sensitive and very loyal.
I went in looking specifically for a classic German Shepherd. He jumps on my lap, and that was the end of the story. He chose me.
When we got Enzo, he was afraid of kids, but after I worked with him and I would spend time with him, we love each other now. It's a completely different dog from when we got him.
Well, he was an only dog for a little bit, but then we decided maybe he should have a friend. We started volunteering with the rescue, and we decided we would foster a dog.
Chloe is a German Shepherd mix. She's mixed with Rottweiler and also Labrador. We got Chloe from the same rescue that we got Enzo, and it turned out that we were just fostering her, just to take care of her for a while before we could then give her to a forever home.
And that was the best thing we ever did, because Chloe was our second dog, and we got her when she was 4 months old.
And she just grabbed our hearts, and we just couldn't let her go. And we could say that we failed as a foster because we just couldn't let her go.
Chloe likes to jump on the bed. Chloe likes to jump on people. Chloe likes to be snuggled like a puppy. She likes to be cradled. And if you're laying in bed, she'll come up, lay right next to you, snuggle into your arm, and it's like, rub my belly.
Chloe, she likes to play with all the dogs. I mean, she's crazy.
She has no manners. She likes to just walk up to the person and put her paws right on the person.
She is a diva. Any one of our dogs will have a toy, and she'll just come up and she'll just take it.
Dino is a mix between, I think, a Schnauzer, a Shih Tzu, and a Poodle. So is it a Schnoodle? Schnitzoodle?
Dino is our little man. That's what we call him. He's a little Schnauzer, Poodle. He's a big dog in a little dog's body. He just welcomes all the foster dogs in. He gets along with the big dogs as if he's a big dog. So we think he was a big dog in another life.
Dino is what we call the universal connector. He's an old soul, and he just gets along with every dog. He just loves every dog that he's introduced to.
And he's actually the toughest of all the dogs. If the doorbell rings or the gardeners come over, all the dogs bark. But Dino's the one that will stand in between me and whoever, or stand in between our daughter and whoever. And finally, we have Daphne. She's a black lab. She's wonderful. She's the sweetest dog ever. Doesn't have a mean bone or a protective bone in her body.
Daphne is a black lab, and she's actually a guide dog in training.
Dino and Daphne play nonstop, constantly all day. They wrestle with each other, they lick each other, they are constantly doing whatever they can do to play and rile each other up.
We take them for a walk twice a day, but they act like they've never been on a walk before.
Then the whole family takes the 4 of them for a walk at night. So they get 2 walks a day.
Sometimes people give us looks because we've got 4 dogs walking down the street. We have too many dogs for the sidewalk. So we just walk on the street where there's no cars, and we think it's a good way of getting the dogs closer with each other as they walk, so they feel like they're part of the pack. They're part of the family. They love them to death, and we just can't imagine our lives without them.
Our dogs mean everything to our family. They are a part of every moment of our life. When we take vacations, we like to be able to take them with us. They're just part of everything.
I love all
The
of
dogs
them.
jumping on the trampoline.
They're companions, they're family. I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world.
Our thanks to the Wagner family for inviting us to their home and sharing their dog tales.
I love my dog, love my dog, love my dog, love my dog. Dog tales.
Next up, our Spotlight Breed, and much, much more on Dog Tales, Family Edition.
Dog tales.
Are you ready to do more? Eat at
Good RX.
Meet You lets you transfer up to 90 credits.
I'm a very special dog. Everybody loves me. I'm a bundle of joy with a pedigree.
Cavalier King Charles Spaniels were around from 20th century. King Charles II used to own these dogs for his kids, and that's why they're called King Charles. And at that time, they were so special that they were allowed in any public place, especially in Parliament. They were treated like a king. I got this King Charles Spaniel because I live alone, and they're very affectionate, and they pay attention to you, and it's just a companionship for me, so that's why I like this dog. Cavalier King Charles dogs have long hair, and every time they get washed, they need it to be brushed. Otherwise, they get a little bit dreadlocked around their ears especially. So the hairs definitely need to be brushed all the time. They're not the type to leave them at home for a long time, so they need to have somebody around them, show them love and all that. He's super friendly. He loves to play with people, children, other dogs. I've never seen him bite or bark at anybody or any other animal, especially my dog. Like, the only problem with these dogs, if you can call it a problem, is that they want too much attention. When he meets other dogs, he just continuously wants to play with them. Sometimes when I'm with friends that have dogs and he plays with them the whole day, and when we go home, he just gets so tired, he sleeps like for 2 days to make up for the time that he spent with the other dogs. When I go out, I do take him. If I'm not like in a hurry to do stuff, I do take him. He sits in the car and he just has his head out of the window and just like enjoying the crowd, watching the cars. And then if I go to a store, it's very easy to take him. Sometimes I don't want him to touch stuff, or some stores I don't, but usually I do take him everywhere with me. They're considered toy dogs. So along with the pug, these are the two biggest toy dogs, and their weight is between 10 to 18 pounds, and their height is about 12 to 13 inches. That's the maximum they grow. I recommend them for families, especially families who have kids and want to have a pet. They're very happy and affectionate, and they need a lot of love and care. My King Charles likes to play with toys, and sometimes when he's happy, he just chases his own tail and just goes in circle all the time. It's really funny. I have to put all my time to sit and just pat him and have him on my lap. And everywhere in the house I go, he follows me. He just constantly wants to be with me. When people come up to him, it's like he's known him forever. He plays with them, he's so friendly. If people are thinking about getting King Charles Spaniel, I totally recommend that. And especially if they have other dogs, these dogs are really friendly with other dogs, and it's good to have them when some people have more than one dog. As far as them getting along, it's the best dog to get. He's become a big part of my family or my life. And when my friends talk about their kids, I talk about him, it's like my kid, so yeah, it's a big part.
Breed: Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Country of origin: England. Temperament: affectionate. Additional comments: good for apartment life. Needs daily walk. Average shedder. So their fur sheds a lot. EI, educational and informative.
Everybody loves me.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Are you disabled and can no longer work? What's your
Great for Justin.
Founder of New Leash on Life.
What we do, we go to shelter, we select a dog based on the number of the space we have. When we bring the dog to our facility, they go with a 2 weeks quarantine. That 2 weeks, we want to make sure dogs are completely healthy, and if they're not, we will be able to give them medical attention they need, so our other animals will not get sick. After 2 weeks, they come for evaluation. Evaluation with our trained staff, kennel manager. We start working with the obedience, then we select the personality. It will be good for our Linda Park program. If we take 10 dogs from the shelter, we may have 4 or 5 of them will be selected for therapy program. Everybody else, they get worked with, they get socialized, they get exercised, we put them on a good diet, and they go to the adoption program. Through the dogs we select for Linda Park, they go to complete obedience training. The one they pass the test, then they go to the therapy program. The one they do not pass the test, they get adopted as a trained dog.
This is Boone. He's 6 years old and he's a Newfoundland Chow mix. And he's about to go home tomorrow, which is bittersweet. I love this dog, but it's great that he's getting out. He's what we call in the rescue world a BBD, a big black dog, and it's very hard to adopt them out of shelters and rescue organisations. And the irony is, he's going to go home and help a young man, a little boy locally, who has trouble verbalising. But he came one morning, walked Boone, and couldn't stop talking about Boone when he got home, which is great. And they have a lovely home, and the little boy is so keen to walk him and spend all his time with Boone. So he's going to a great home. And it's another example of a big black dog helping out children. We had a beautiful big black shepherd here who went home to a little girl with a similar problem. She wasn't keen on interacting with people and talking. And with Kona by her side, they're a great team. So we're really, really pleased that we can help out the dogs and some local children as well.
Claire says a great variety of dogs in different sizes and personalities pass through New Leash on Life.
This is Riley. He's a little long-haired Dachshund mix. He was in East Valley, believe it or not, all 5 pounds of him for being aggressive. I received a phone call about him. He became rescue only, and we've been working with him. He wouldn't let us touch his paws. He wouldn't let us take treats. He was pretty aggressive. He caught me and nipped my finger. So we're working with him, and he'll go to an experienced family who can continue his training, and he'll do really well in the right hands. So we're waiting for that special family to come along for this little guy. Cute as a button, but with attitude. This is called puppy gentling. We do this. This gets a puppy used to being handled, so the first vet visit hopefully goes smoothly. When we first got him, because of his attitude, he wouldn't let us do this. We touched his paws, oh my goodness, you would have thought we were boiling him in hot oil. So we've worked very hard with him. We can now do this, the puppy gentling. This is a very submissive position for a dog. This is a scary place for him to be. But as you can see, we've been working with him over the past 6 weeks, and he's doing really well. He's a good boy. We can touch those paws now, huh? Yeah, we can touch these paws. He's a good boy. This little guy who's always asking for belly rubs, this is Norman. And he was found running on San Fernando Road by myself. I was gassing at my car. And I guess when you're in the rescue world, a lot of dogs come to you. So I rescued him and his siblings, put them back in the front yard, and his owner turned up and couldn't believe his luck that I was from a dog rescue and asked me to take them and find them good homes because he didn't know what the next step was. So
Actually, I took them home, fostered all 3 of them, found the other 2 good homes, and now my husband has fallen in love with this little guy, so it looks like he'll be staying with me forever. Which I can just about cope with. He's kind of cute. Huh? And Mum was a Chihuahua, who I saw, a Chihuahua mix. Daddy was probably a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, so that's why he's so muscular and buff, and he's a great little guy.
Creating New Lease on Life was a natural extension of Bobby's love for dogs.
I put pretty much all my life to it.
Dog training,
I
health,
have so much
nutrition,
passion for it
behavior,
because
and
since I was
grooming.
a kid, I've been raised with him. My life has been
That's
saved a
what
bunch
is
of
on
dogs.
Justice Network, True
I
Crime
feel
Network.
a lot of people, they don't understand how important these creatures are in our life. My own experience, I met a lot of people through my life which they never had a dog. They end up having 1 dog. They never could live without the dogs. If your life is allow you, if you are ready to take that kind of a responsibility of 15, 20 years, is the best thing ever happened to you. They are the only creature, I would say, that are absolutely love you unconditionally. And I can prove that to anybody in a matter of 3 seconds.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Audible.
Person's always right next to them, and then I'm in front, and I'll make a little bit of noise, and boy, that first noise gets a reaction, or no. And we do it very slowly, so it's really not stressful for the animal. Walk behind me, look over here. Good girl, that a girl. As far as the dogs being good clients, some of them come in and they are naturals. They get on the stage, they pose, their eyes are bright. Others get on and initially they're very cautious, and then you get ones who are very fearful. So you work through a lot of different levels before you get the right shot, but you get the shot. With the advent of digital cameras, you'd think really people wouldn't want so much to pay for photography, but it's amazing, even with digital cameras and all the technology, they still can't get a good shot at home or in their backyard. They want to pay, they want someone with a good eye, they want their dog to look the best, and they all say, I can't do this at home, I have so much junk, and he just doesn't look good to me, he doesn't want to perform right for me. You know, at the end of the day, I always think, gee, that was so much fun for me, and I'm never sure how the clients are going to react, but they love the shots. I get calls all the time back a day or 2 later saying, I looked at the photos again and I love them, thank you so much. And it makes me feel really good because it's fun, it's easy for me, but they love the way the dog looks.
Pam's works have been seen in numerous major publications over the years, as well as in the homes of many dog lovers who want that perfect picture of their best friend. Meet Elsa and Savannah, 2 unusual roommates. Elsa is a yellow Labrador puppy from Guide Dogs of America, who's serving as a temporary living companion to Savannah, a rare endangered South American maned wolf puppy who gravely concerned zookeepers because she did not nurse following her birth.
We left the baby with the mom as long as we possibly could. And after 15 hours, we saw nothing that would indicate that the baby had nursed. So a decision was made at that point to take the baby. If we possibly can, we don't want to hand raise anything. We'd much rather have mom raise them so that they get all the benefits of becoming potentially a wild animal at some point in the future. Our next problem was, well, we don't want to raise it by itself, and we just really got lucky that Elsa was born at roughly the same time as the main wolf puppy.
Finish your breakfast, or your sister's gonna get all of it. I'm not worried about these 2 animals having a problem getting along. Some people worry that as the wolf grows older, the wolf might attack the puppy or the dog or that kind of thing. When animals are raised together from the very start, grow up their whole lives together, even if one's a domestic or one's a wild animal, there's usually never any problem.
If we were not able to find a domestic dog to raise with her. The only other option would be that if someone else in North America, in another zoo, had Mangrove puppies and they were hand raising them, we would have probably sent Savannah there so that she would have the companionship of the other animals. They'll be together probably no longer than 6 to 8 months. At that point, the female Maned Wolf is going to be getting rather large. She's going to have to go out and learn how to be a Maned Wolf. We're not going to introduce her back to her parents. What we'll do is get a recommendation from the species survival manager and then send her on to another institution where she'll be paired up with an adult male or a young male about her same age. This domestic dog is going to go back to the guide dogs and hopefully become a guide dog for America.
Okay, for more Justice Network videos, Rescue 911, Dog Tales, Animal Rescue, hit the notification to be notified when I post new videos. Peace out, YouTube.